So today we're going to look at factoring by taking out a greatest common factor, or GCF. So my two examples here, the first one here, 12w to the third t squared minus 9w squared plus 15w squared t cubed. So when I find a GCF, what I'm looking for is the greatest common factor. Okay, factor, we're looking for numbers that multiply in or go into my coefficients here. I'm going to deal with my coefficients first. So 12, 9, and 15. So I'm looking for, again, a common factor between 3, the greatest common factor. So I know that 3 goes into all 3 of these numbers. I want to look at my variables here. If I had w to the third, w, and w squared, okay, I'm looking for the biggest number of w's that would come out of all of these evenly. So if you look, this one has 3, this one has 1, this one has 2. So I can take 1 out from all of them. So w is going to be part of my GCF. And then my t is t squared, t to the third. I could take out t squared from all of these. So part of my GCF, 3w t squared. And what I'm doing is I'm dividing all of my terms by my GCF. 3w t squared, 3w t squared. My GCF goes on the outside of parentheses. I'm going to open up a set of parentheses here. 12 divided by 3 is 4. W to the third divided by w, we subtract our exponents here, so it should give me w squared, and the t's will divide out. 9 divided by 3 is 3. W divided by w divides out, and t squared over t squared divides out. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. W squared divided by w is w, and t to the third divided by t squared is t. Leaving my final answer right here, 3w t squared, and then in parentheses 4w squared minus 3 plus 5wt. I would check my answer by distributing out my GCF. Next example here, 9y squared z squared minus 81y cubed z squared minus 90y squared z to the fourth. Again, I'm looking for my common factor along with my numbers here. It can't be bigger than 9. I check to see if 9 goes into 81, which it does, and 9 goes into 90, so 9 is my GCF of my coefficients. My y's, I have y squared, y cubed, y squared. I could pull out y squared from all of those evenly, and I have z squared, and z to the fourth, which means I could pull out z squared from all of them. So 9y squared, z squared is my GCF. I'm going to open up a set of parentheses, and I'm going to divide all of these by my GCF. 9y squared, z squared. Numbers act normal. 9 divided by 9 is 1. Y squared over y squared divides out. Z squared over z squared divides out. Minus 81 divided by 9 is 9. Y cubed over y squared is y. And z's divide out. Minus 90 divided by 9 is 10. Y's divide out, and I'm left with z squared. Again, I would check my answer by distributing. Oops, sorry about that. And my final answer is below. Okay, so hopefully this helped you guys with taking out a GCF or factoring by GCF. It's the first type of factoring we learned. All right, thanks, guys.